welcome to another YouTube live session. I'm Roberto Blake from robertoblake.com, helping you create something awesome today. So this one is going to be fun. I actually have the new Panasonic Lumix GH5. This thing is a monster. This is very cool. I dig this camera. You guys are getting to see it. And I've been using it for about a day, so this is not going to be a review. In fact, my unboxing video probably dropped later tonight. But I want to talk to you guys about YouTube gear and YouTube setup. While this is a very expensive, fancy camera, and this is also a very expensive, fancy camera, you don't need expensive, fancy camera gear to do a YouTube channel. You can do it with your smartphone and a few little accessories like the Rode VideoMic Me to get perfect audio, or a little bendy tripod like this for stabilization. So there are a lot of affordable things that you can do to build and grow your YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about the gear that I started with and how much that cost and affordable options for you guys. I'm going to answer some of your questions about gear and lighting. And I'm also going to be showing you some of my other gear that I have here, like the main camera that I use for YouTube currently, which is the Panasonic Lumix G7. And that's what I use. I have some other accessories here. Obviously, I have microphones. I have all these different things. So you can go to robertoblake.com/YouTube gear. I've linked everything down below for you guys. So you can look at everything that I do. You can shop for it on Amazon or B&H, and you can get the same gear that produces the same results as me. But if you are on a budget, there are a lot of things that I have that were cheap. This camera does a fantastic job on quality, whether it's live streams or recorded videos. You can get something like this for about 60 bucks. So you don't need to break the bank to have awesome YouTube gear. So I want you guys to do me a huge favor. I want you to tweet this out, share this in social media, because I super don't want to have to repeat myself so much. That's what I love about doing these live streams. And I'm going to answer your questions about gear and about options, about what's affordable. I've linked to some other things, like I linked to a starter YouTube kit and to a $150 YouTube kit for those of you who are super strapped on a budget. I'm also going to answer your questions about the Panasonic Lumix GH5, because, I mean, this camera is amazing. It's a boss. I'm using the Sennheiser MKE 440. I think I have a review coming about this later this week. So I'm going to help you guys out with all that gear. I'm going to tell you the difference between using a $1,000 point and shoot like the Sony RX100 Mark V and a $200 point and shoot like the Panasonic Lumix ZS45, I think is what it's called. Yeah, it's the Lumix ZS45. So what do you get with those cameras versus $1,000 versus $200, and why do I do that? So I'm going to answer your questions about gear, about my lighting system. You guys know I like to have my lighting on point, and why that was one of the first things that I upgraded when I started doing the upgrades for my channel. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Would love for you guys to tweet this out and share this so that we can answer as many people's questions as possible. I'm really not talking about growing your channel. I'm talking about the technical aspects, but Micro Battalion says, I feel like nobody feels my YouTube presence in YouTube. I can't feed my 600 children with this amount of views. I'm getting depressed when I look at my view count. My answer is that I think you should either build a real online business or seek full-time employment. Do not try to feed 600 kids on YouTube. I don't think that's practical. That's my real straight-up answer for you. If you're trying to do that with YouTube, I don't recommend that. If you don't know how to do that effectively, it's not worthwhile. You should be doing something else. That's my answer. So we're going to talk and focus on gear. I really would love it if you guys keep your questions to gear-related stuff and to your technical setup. I've answered questions in 160 videos about growing a YouTube channel, growing an audience, growing a presence. So if you want to talk about camera gear, you want to talk about lighting, you want to talk about microphones, you want to talk about audio, then that's what this stream is going to be all about. Rose GB asks, do I have a ring light? I don't have a ring light, but I do believe in investing in one, and I'm thinking about it. For the way that I do my setup, and also because I'm a dude, I don't typically need a ring light, but I've been considering getting one specifically for doing these live streams because I think that that would help. Right now, I have a light that's over here from the corner, and it does an okay job. But I think having something like a ring light that I can mount here behind this monitor when I'm doing live streams would actually help. So I'm looking at that. Possibly an Archon ring light could be a good option for something like this. If you're on a smartphone, I recommend getting a ring light for your smartphone, clipping that on, and then that can help you with how your stuff looks with your smartphone. I also recommend the Rode Video Mic Me. You plug that into your smartphone, then you've got a directional mic with really good audio. Alternatively, you could use a wired lapel mic for that, and Rode makes good ones for that as well. So, great question on the ring light. Fiberfix says, my first thing was decent sound. Then I did an update to the light, and it made a world of difference. Just got a fairly cheap 3-point lighting kit. Absolutely, you can start with a 3-point lighting kit. I used a $120 two light setup when I got started in YouTube, and now I use another 2-light setup that is about $400, and that is because I like LED panel lights, and I like those because they can control the temperature and the warmth, and it's why you see that my video quality has dramatically improved in YouTube over time, especially this year, is by using LED panel lights. Using those bicolor lights, I can control temperature. So that's why I use them. Matt Zappa says, can you use a DSLR or mirrorless camera as your webcam? You absolutely can. I did a test with that earlier in the month, back in March, and what you use if you want to live stream using a DSLR is you use this. You use a Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle or an Elgato Game Capture. This is linked in my kit.com stuff, so go to robertoblake.com/YouTube gear and you'll see exactly what I'm using. But this is how I take something like the Panasonic GH5 or the G7, and by hooking this up with HDMI in and out, I can actually go ahead and use this as a live streaming camera, and I've done that before. So that's something that you can do, and that's the tool that you would need to use that. So I have those things linked in the description below for you guys. Great question, Matt Zappa. Oh, we just got our first super chat here. Let me see who it's from. So we got $2 from Pi Tagus. Thank you so much. Hello, Roberto. Thanks for your fantastic videos. Thank you so much for watching. So that's what I would say you could do there. How do you limit Anthony Miyazaki says, how do you limit echo while recording with particular gear or post during editing? You need to do it with particular gear. If you want to limit echo, consider filming in a enclosed area or getting some soundproofing. In general, you'll just want to get good microphones. That can definitely help. I recommend directional based microphones. So that's going to help you. Excuse me. What I use is I use the Sennheiser MKE440. Sennheiser sent that over. I bought this Rode Video Mic Pro because my Rode Video Mic Go kind of sucked and the mounting point on it snapped. So that was a waste of $99, but the Rode Video Mic Pro is a little better. I prefer the Sennheiser MKE440 over the Rode Video Mic Pro and Go, though, because there's nothing to really break here. The only thing is that it doesn't have a disconnect for the connection point on the cord, and so that's the only thing that can limit the lifetime value of the microphone. So I prefer the Sennheiser shotgun microphones, but Rode is fine, and those kind of things help limit your echo. The other thing is soundproofing the area. If you're going to do YouTube stuff, what I did, which may be theoretically a mistake, is that this desk setup is against the wall because that's what I like to work with. But if I was going to prioritize being a YouTuber versus being an editor on that kind of thing, then for filming here, what I would have done is I would have flipped this around, have this away from the wall, and have the desk here, have space between, I'd sit against the wall, and I'd have soundproofing behind me. That's why you see YouTubers like Craig Adams and Markiplier have the black stuff in the background that's patterned. That's soundproofing, which reduces the echo because the echo is a result of the waves coming from the microphone bouncing back off the wall versus being absorbed by it. So that is why they do that. Another alternative is just get really close to the microphone instead of having it far away. So that's an answer. Arbotos Blair Glenn says, do you own the Osmo Mobile Steadicam? I do not own the DJI Osmo Mobile Steadicam. I've considered it, and I might get it. Or if DJI wants to work with me, maybe I'll have them send it over. Sarah Fizio, thank you so much for the $10 on Super Chat. Thanks for the advice, Roberto. What can you recommend for glareless lights? You're filming wet paint. It's not a matter of glareless lights. It's a matter of angling the lights appropriately. I would suggest either using diffusers, or I would say aim the lights away from the wall and then use reflectors potentially, or umbrellas depending on your lighting. That'd be my recommendation. Erickson Film says, Roberto, have you found that a certain niches on YouTube expect higher quality in the way MKBHD shoots red, yet other channels shoot on 9-year-old DSLRs in auto? Great question, Erickson Films. MKBHD doesn't need to shoot on epic reds. He could shoot on any number of things and get crispy 4K. He just prefers to do that, and it's a differentiation point for him, and it's what he likes. And then in the future, if he decides to do other things, it makes him stand out. We all know Marquez, and he stands out partly because he does that, but a lot of the other people in Team Christie don't shoot on reds. Other Team Crispy members, like your average consumer, shoot on like a Sony, I think it's a Sony FS7, and Austin Evans shoots on some other 4K camera, and I believe that Jonathan Morrison with TLD is shooting on some other 4K camera. I know that there's another tech reviewer on YouTube that shoots on a Panasonic GH4 specifically for his 4K video. You know that I have now moved to the Panasonic Lumix GH5 and the G7 respectively. Double fisting my cameras here. So that you don't need to do that, and there's no niche in where you have to do that. That's not the answer. So it's just that Marquez wants to do that. You can shoot on, in terms of higher quality. Quality is in the eye of the beholder. Jared Polin shoots on Nikon stuff. There are plenty of YouTubers who shoot on Canon stuff. Some of them shoot on Sony, and it's all fine. Quality is more than anything a matter of lighting, shooting at a low ISO, shooting with great glass, and having great stabilization and good color grading in your edits. That's what quality looks like. If I shoot in 4K and I use the right sharpening, you probably won't be able to tell the difference between my video and a video from any of the top tech YouTubers if I really want to reproduce the look of their videos versus doing the look of my videos. So that's what I would say about that. Jonathan O'Quinn says, have you tried out the Zoom Q8 HD camcorder with interchangeable mic capsule system? I have not tried that out yet. I would like to look into it, but I have not tried that yet. Kawani's Kitchen and Homestaying says, where can I find a camera for $60? The only quality YouTube camera for $60 is the Logitech C920. In fact, let me get up and get that real quick. So this is my spare, because I'm using the C922X here. This is the one that I travel with. This is the Logitech C920. This is the $60 webcam that Sonny Lenarduzzi started with, and you can use this, and you'd get about roughly this quality of video that I have going on right now, except the one I have right now shoots at 60 frames a second, so that is definitely an option. Man, it's getting warm in here. I'd open up a window, but it'll negatively impact the audio here. So sacrifices I make for you guys. So that's a $60 YouTube camera, and it's the only $60 YouTube camera that I can recommend. If you go less than $100 on a camera, the quality is not great unless we're talking a webcam. Hulky Beach just donated €5. Hi, Roberto. Does YouTube follow the same watch time of your channel in certain periods, like 30, 90, 365 days, and then chooses to promote or not? It prioritizes the first hour, the first 24 hours, the first 48 hours, the first 72 hours, the first week, and it also evaluates the 30-day cycle and the yearly cycle. And it's not a matter of whether it chooses to promote or not. It's the extent to which it chooses to weights it to to distribute, and no one knows exactly what the balancing of that is. But again, not the topic we're covering today, but I answered it because you threw me €5 in a super chat, so even though it's completely off topic, I decided to answer it, so you're welcome, Hulky Beats. Thank you so much for the €5. But yeah, let's try and keep the questions to video production, camera gear, editing, and any questions you guys have about the Lumix GH5, because I definitely want to answer your questions about any tech that you might have. So we're about 16 minutes in, and I'm going to look at some more of your questions here. So Plan Read Geek says, would love some tips on the Blue Yeti microphone. It seems to work better on my PC, but doesn't play nice with my Mac. I know plenty of Mac users who use the Blue Yeti, and it actually works out pretty well for them. So I'm not sure what your particular issues or problems are, but you might want to go ahead and ask someone who has that, and just ask them what is they're doing to get it work on their Mac. Zen Lacroix says, I have a Lumix G7 looking to upgrade the lens for video products. What do you recommend? Great question. So some of the lenses that I like to use is if I'm doing product shots like I was doing when I was doing the GH5 here. And I'm actually going to queue up some shots of the GH5 so you get a better look at it. So here you go. Here is a close-up of that. And I shot this using my Lumix 30mm lens, which is a 60mm equivalent that shoots at up to f2.5, I believe. And it's a macro lens, so it's great for product shots. And this is what I use to help. And I'm going to be using this for doing the shots that show off this camera in the unboxing video, both the stills and also for the motion shots that I used on my slider. So if you want to do product photography like this, I recommend getting the 60mm lens or equivalent, which is the 30mm for the Panasonic Lumix Mine, because it's micro four thirds. So that's how I got those shots, was I was using this on the G7. So I did that. The shots that I'm going to show you, there are going to be sample shots here from the GH5. The sample shots from the GH5, I did those with the 42.5mm lens that can shoot at f1.7, which is the equivalent of an 85mm lens. So let me go ahead and show you the shots that I got from that. So you can see that an 85mm lens can do a lot for you in terms of great bokeh, depth of field, and you can still get things tap sharp when you want those things in focus. And that's for both video and for still photography. So that gives you an indication of the quality. So if you're looking to upgrade your lenses, I would start with the primes. And if you are going to self-record, I would use the 12mm pancake lens. That's what I usually shoot with on this YouTube channel for the stuff in front of my bookshelf. Alternatively, sometimes I'll use the 25mm because that's a 50mm equivalent on the micro four thirds sensor. And the way that I handle the focusing there is I control it with the app in my phone from Panasonic. So that's how I handle my shots. Those are the lenses that I use. You'll find that out in my gear. You go to you go to robertoblake.com/YouTube gear. You can use the links in the description below, and you'll see my setup. You'll see my lenses. You'll see all the camera buys that I'm using and what they're priced at. Awesome cranberry juice. CC Funny 22 says, can you please talk about just-in-game 44 type videos? I have no idea who that is, so I can't talk about it because I have no idea who that is. Let's see. We've got some more questions here, and I want to answer those. So the all-nighter says, any tips for filming straight down? Do you have any brand suggestions for tripod extensions, arms for DSLR? Lighting also seems more difficult to get at the right angle. Tremendous question. I recommend that what you look at doing is using something like the Joby Gorilla Pod to be able to attach this to some type of fixture that will be secure and use that in order to film straight down. Alternatively, you can do what Sarah Dici did, and you can make a makeshift table for shooting straight down for unboxings and reviews. Casey Neistat did the same thing, and so that's why I would recommend. In terms of lighting, you could also use something like they have the Joby Torchlight, which is something like this, but on a GorillaPod mount for lighting, or you could put some lights on this, and that might help you. Abakar Idris says, I have a Lumix G7 using it with a 25mm f7 f1.7 lens. Any tips on manual focus setup? If you are in front of the camera, use the mobile app to do manual focus. If you're behind the camera, use the regular focus adjustment, but use focus peaking as a feature. The reason that I like the GH5 and the G7 over Nikon and Canon is the focus peaking if you're going to do manual, which I like doing a lot, and that helps me. And I don't have to rely on the autofocus. As a filmmaker, I believe in being a real filmmaker and controlling the focus myself. So I don't like to rely on auto settings for much. And so that's what my recommendation is. So, Zio is live says, hey Roberto, I want to try to vlog, but sometime in the future, but I'm trying to figure out what to vlog about. That's not really what we're talking about here. What you should vlog about is you should talk about things you know and things you experienced. Not everyone's Casey Neistat. Swoozy just talks about his crazy dating life. So maybe you would find something like that. Oh, we got some more super chats. Clover Tack, question incoming soon. You are awesome, Roberto. We appreciate all the help you give. Thank you so much. $5 in super chat. Jacob Campbell, thanks for the help. I know you recently left Nikon, but I have a client that's in the eco, prioritizes still archival. Any Nikons with would be okay for 500. $500 is tough on a budget. I would go up a little bit higher on that and then put them in the Nikon D5300 or D5500 category. That's what I would recommend, but it's going to cost a little bit more than $500, but that's your best bet at that price point. If I were going to straight up be a photographer only, I'd prioritize Nikon or Canon. Probably Nikon because of ease of use and I like it. But for video, it has to be Sony and Panasonic, and that's just how I feel about it. That's where the technology is going, and that's why I have to prioritize them. Jay Smith says, I just received my camera for today, Canon PowerShot SX720HS. Is this great for YouTube videos? I don't know about great, but I'm sure it'll be fine because I know people who've used similar Canon PowerShot cameras, like my friend Amish Matower, and even Casey Neistat used them early in his YouTube career, and they're pretty decent cameras. But what I prefer for vlogging style stuff is I prefer the Sony RX100 Mark V. Alternatively, though, Panasonic makes some really good comparable point-and-shoots that are pretty decent. And this one is $200. It's the Lumix ZS45 and is actually really good for $200, comparable to what you get from the Sony. Now, Sony also has a $400 point-and-shoot equivalent to the RX100 that's not bad. And so if I had to choose between them, I would get the $400 Sony point-and-shoot over the $200 Lumix, but there are $400 and $500 Lumix point-and-shoots that are comparable to the Sony RX100 Mark V in terms of all the features. In fact, I think the LX10 from Panasonic is a competitor with the RX100 Mark V, and it costs $400. So that's what I think about that. Ericsson Film says, was the 10-bit on the GH5 the selling point for you? No. The selling point for me on the GH5 was no time limit other than the remainder of the SD card slot. Dual SD card slots on this, which is amazing. On a camera that also has flip screen and touch screen. a microphone input jack, and an audio monitoring jack as well. And shoots 4K up to 60 frames per second. 10-bit is nice, but those were the selling points for me because no other camera system, including Sony, is offering that. They're not offering flip-out screens in most of their full-frame cameras. They're not offering touchscreen in any of their cameras for the most part right now, maybe next year. And the audio input and output jack, huge opportunity there. And none of the Sony cameras currently, to my knowledge, have dual SD card slots. So that's important for backup and redundancy. So those are the features that sold me on this camera, as well as 4K at 60 frames per second. There's only so many practical applications for that, but I still want to play with it. So now you know what sold me on the Panasonic Lumix GH5. That's what did it. All right, so we're 27 minutes into this live stream, and I've still got questions from you guys. What do you recommend for color grading for beginners? Well, what video editing software are you using? Because that's what I would recommend for color grading. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, so I do my color grading in Adobe Premiere Pro. If I were going to recommend, to be honest, I don't recommend anything else. What's the best mirrorless camera and lens for travel vlogging? Probably, in my opinion, because of lightweight, the Panasonic Lumix G7 for travel. And in terms of a travel lens, if you're going to self-record and vlog, I think it's a 14 millimeter wide angle lens. So yeah. My audio's lower? I don't think it is. Let's see. Have I ever used Lens Baby Lens? Nope, have not. What is the f-stop on that? Usually my f-stop is f2.8 for most things. Sometimes f1.7. Inner Geek Design says, Roberto, I started using my smartphone for Adobe Clip. Any suggestions on using Clip? Get really finessed with the editing, and also don't be afraid to adjust the lighting and contrast on your individual clips. That would be my answer to that. Starting microphone for a Canon 7D. I would recommend the Rode VideoMic Pro if you're going to use a Canon 7D. If you're going to use a 7D and you're spending that money, you might as well either get a Rode or a Sennheiser microphone. Fibrick asks, how do you add your live chat over your live? I'm using OBS and just haven't been able to work it out. You do it the same way that you handle sharing a screen for the most part. I'd have to look at it. I'm using Wirecast, which I paid a lot of money for to be able to make that easier. So that's how I'm doing it. What is a small, great point-and-shoot indoor camera for attending live events that's not going to break the bank, as I attend a lot of WWE events? If you're going to do WWE, you have to spend some money, so I'm going to recommend the Lumix LX10. It's going to be $600. It's going to be around the price range of the Sony RX100 Mark V. It's going to be half, I think, of almost the price of the Sony RX100 Mark V. But if you're paying for wrestling tickets, spend $600 on a camera. Nerd Explorer says, focus peaking works great on my Sony a7S II as well. Yes, that's another reason to buy the Sony cameras. So let's go into a little bit of my overall gear here. I showed you guys that right now what I shoot with is the GH5. That's going to be my primary shooter now. Whenever I need to run and gun, it's going to be the G7, which has been the primary shooter up until now for at least the last 4 months. When I'm traveling on the go, it's the Sony RX100 Mark V. When I'm doing webcam stuff, it's the Logitech C920. That's $60 there. And what I'm using usually as a mobile tripod is the Joby Gorilla Pod. When I'm not using that, I'm using Manfrotto travel tripods. And one of the other reasons I like the Panasonic stuff is because I can use lenses from other camera systems. Now, I don't have a speed booster to use like Nikon or Canon glass right now, but because it's a Micro Four Thirds system, I can use Olympus lenses as well. And so I have a big old Olympus zoom lens here, which is a 40 to 150. And it's got some stabilization, I think. This was 99 bucks. So this is the equivalent of an 80 millimeter to 300 on that camera, and it actually does a pretty good job. So I like stuff like that. The Olympus lenses are a little cheaper, so I can extend the power of my Panasonic cameras by using Olympus glass, Fuji glass as well. When I want to convert my DSLRs into a live streaming camera to get ridiculous live streaming quality, I can use the Black Magic Design Shuttle Intensity to do that in my live streams. So that's what I use, and I'm live streaming with Wirecast instead of OBS, you guys. But that's the investment I wanted to make. And I have links to all of my gear, everything that you could need, and even the stuff that I shot with originally when I didn't have the money to invest. When I spent originally, I think, $650 on my Nikon D3200 with a kit lens. That's why I started my YouTube channel with. You could buy that for $350 today and produce the same quality YouTube videos that got me to about 150, 180,000 subscribers before I switched over my gear. So you can get to where I am in YouTube using really cheap gear. You could get maybe $600 worth of gear. Sunny Lenarduzzi did a great job and got to 30,000 subscribers just using this when she started, and now she's at about 75,000 subscribers. Built a six-figure business here on YouTube as a consultant for social media. Became a world-class public speaker. So it doesn't come down to your gear. Your gear is supposed to get out of your way. That's what I use it for. I use it for speed and to get out of my way and to give me what I want as a creative. Anthony Miyazaki says, do you typically record directly to your YouTube camera DSLR? And could you recommend a 2 to 4 channel portable audio recorder for filming interviews? Great question. So I do typically film directly to my DSLR. For audio, I have a little device here that I would recommend to you, and it's in my kit. And this is the Zoom H4n. They have a new updated version of it, but I have the old one. And you can plug two XLR microphones directly into this, and you can go ahead and you can do that recording. And this does have multiple channels. This has up to 4 channels. So you have options there. You can plug these 2 mics in, and this is super portable and convenient as long as you can carry those mics. So this would be ideal for podcasting. Now, with the Panasonic GH5, it does have an accessory that's a few $100 that you can plug XLR microphones directly into as well. That would work for interviews. So that's something else that I could recommend to you. And that's another reason to get the GH5. So that's what I like about this Panasonic GH5. Is that it has all this power. It's so much of a monster, but the accessories can build it out even further. So let's see. Got a few more questions here that we want to get to. Derek K. Fulton says, I like how you're discussing camera equipment that are budget friendly. I'm just looking for a simple point and shoot camera. I was looking to be my question to you. Thank you. Yeah, if you want cheaper point and shoot cameras than the Sony stuff, take a look at the Panasonic Lumix stuff, and I have some recommendations. Go ahead, go to my links in the description below, and you can find that stuff. But Panasonic is amazing for stuff on a budget, and that's what I would recommend in terms of point and shoots if you're going to go outside of Sony. The old Canon G7X, if you can find it, some people sell it used for like $400. It was much more when people bought it. You can get it for $300-400 used now. That's a great alternative. I don't like the autofocusing on that camera, but if you need something that does low light situations really well and you need it under $500, find a used Canon G7. Like that is a G7X. That's a good camera. MVL Production says, I lost about 94% of my ad revenue this past week with the ad boycott, so I don't think I'll be spending any money on equipment anytime soon. That's funny. I would love to see some data on that. Tweet that at me, because that'd be interesting. I doubt you lost 94% of your ad revenue, but if you did, then maybe you should watch my YouTube series on how to make money on YouTube that talks about 9 ways other than ad revenue, because if your entire dependency on your YouTube channel was down to ad revenue, that's a bad business model, my friend, and I'm not trying to be mean or picking on you, but that is a really bad business model. And I'll be frank about this. I think that everyone who built a business model on YouTube that is entirely dependent on ad revenue was very short-sighted and should have seen this coming a mile away. And we've had ad hiccups with YouTube before, and if people were still doing that nonsense after all the stuff that's happened in the past year, from a business perspective, not as a human being, and I don't wish bad things on them, from a business perspective, I would say to deserve to lose just as badly as anybody else who invests in the marketplace, buys a bad stock, and it bottoms out. Well, the market is the market. And so if you're depending on YouTube ads instead of building out a very robust business model, it is very short-sighted. So, my friend, I would recommend you watch that video series, look at other ways you can monetize YouTube, because I'll tell you, I make a decent amount of money on YouTube ad revenue. I could live off of it. I don't want to ever live off my YouTube ad revenue. And aside from my consulting business outside of YouTube, I'd make a lot more money on YouTube with the other ways of monetizing it than the YouTube ad revenue. Probably twice as much. So I don't recommend living off of YouTube ad revenue. It's a bad idea. It's not the topic of this video, but since you related it to the fact that you can't afford to buy equipment because of that, well, there's a reason for it. And again, guys, that's not to be mean. That's not to pick on anybody. I'm just going to give you the raw, honest answer because I'm not worried about being disliked. I'm going to tell you the truth so that you can buckle down, be fiscally responsible, and grow a real business using the online platforms available to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to pander to you for views and likes and subscribers like some people who I will not call out. Because people do that. People do fake positivity on YouTube all the time because it makes them popular. And so I don't worry about that. And I can tell you like it is. I can tell you, you can make real money on YouTube if you do affiliate marketing. If you sell a product or service, you'll make more money. You can grow your email list, and you can do that. You can do merchandise if you are popular and beloved by all. You could do fan funding directly via Patreon. You could do Super Chat. And if people like you, if you want to be likable and make money being likable, then it's like being a street performer. You can get people to go ahead and click that dollar thing in Super Chat, and they can donate $2, $5, $10, $25, whatever, if they like you. And that's cool. And people have been doing that on this stream, and it's awesome. So if you're losing on ad revenue, I don't know why you're relying on ad revenue when you have so many options here to be able to make this practical. So that's my answer. But again, that's not our topic. Our topic is gear, 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 gear. All the gear. So keep the gear questions coming. All right, and we're 40 minutes in, so let's try and answer some more of your gear questions. Anybody got any questions about lighting? We've been talking a lot about cameras and lenses. We talked a little bit about microphones and audio. Does anyone have any questions about lighting? Let's see. George Washington says, Roberto, I want to know what you are using to switch for your camera and computer as place the comment live. Please explain a little bit. So I'm using Wirecast Studio for my live streaming setup. That was a $500 investment. If you go to my stuff, I actually have that linked over. Links are in the description. But Wirecast Studio, huge investment for a proper live streaming. $500. But I get to do all kinds of cool, crazy stuff, guys. So that's why I went ahead and invested. You could learn with OBS how to do all that stuff, I'm sure. OBS is less stable. It crashes. I just like using Wirecast. And it's more than YouTube. Wirecast will let me go ahead and do stuff like this with Facebook and with other platforms as well. And yes, OBS could, but I just prefer this. And I prefer having the professional setup. Not to mention, I plan to do training around this. And so for the people who are serious, that's going to matter. Splits ask best compact camera. In my opinion, Sony RX100 Mark V. You guys will also notice that Casey Neistat bought this camera recently as well. He put up a video this week. I've been using this since December. It is amazing. I actually talked to Casey about this in Twitter, and it's phenomenal. I love it. It's convenient. It's easy. It gets a great tack sharp image, and I can just put it in my pocket whenever I need to do video. So I love that. This is what I've been shooting creative thoughts on, by the way. So that's how I'm doing that. Let's see. There's a few more questions here. Some of these are completely relevant. Eats Life says, what do you use for lighting? Okay, so for lighting, I'm using bicolor lights. So what that is and let me see if I have a picture here that I can queue up for you guys so that you can actually see this lighting setup. But what I'm using is what are called bicolor lights. And the way that bicolor lights work are they let me control the temperature of the lighting. They're LED panel lights, and I can use knob dials like dimmers to be able to control what that lighting actually is. And it's fantastic. And I can add what barred doors to them. I can add gel slides to them, and I can add diffusers to them. So that is super practical. I love it, and it really helps me out. And so that's what I use for my lighting. I used to use what are called spider lights, and those are okay. There's 5 switches, and there are bulbs. But if you break LED bulbs, that's toxic, and you don't want that. There's carcinogens in there. It's really bad stuff. It's toxic. You don't want to deal with that. So I decided that LED panels are not only better in quality, but they're safer. So safety first, and that's why I went with LED panel lights. More control, better accuracy, better color quality, and they are overall safer. The other thing is when you're using light stands, even if you're using them indoors, consider weighting them down with sandbags. That's going to be really important for you, especially if you are outdoors. Kimberly Collins says, is natural lighting better than artificial lighting? Overall, Kimberly, natural lighting is arguably best and better, and you'll hear a lot of people say that. The problem is you have no control over natural lighting, and that lack of control means that you can't have the shots be consistent where you want them to be a lot of times. It also means that you are beholden to nature and the elements as to when you can film. So you have a lot of YouTubers here on the platform, they'll say, oh, I can't post a video today because I don't have the sun or whatever, and I don't believe in that. I believe in having a controlled environment, so I use controlled lighting. Hello Chris says, do you upload videos straight to YouTube or do you actually save them? If you do, is it an XML file so you can go back and edit, or a movie file? It is, I use Adobe Premiere to edit, so it's project files, so I edit them. I save that, and I also save it to a backup location, and then I upload that to YouTube as private. I do my optimization, and then I release that. So that's actually how I do it. 7 Spheres of Money. Yes, you can live stream on a smartphone, and if you are going to do that, I recommend using this for good audio. It's the Rode VideoMic Me. Everything I use is linked up in the description. Now, you can do that on YouTube with Wirecast Go if you don't have the 1,000 plus subscribers you need to do that. But right now, I believe as long as you have at least 1,000 subscribers, you can live stream from the mobile app. They're trying to get that out to everyone as soon as they can, I believe. So just look for that update. But you can use Wirecast Go as an alternative to live stream on YouTube from your smartphone, and that will help you out. So that's another reason to like Wirecast, and Wirecast Go is a free mobile app. So that's why I would recommend. But if you're going to do it, to get good audio, use either a wired mic or use the Rode VideoMic Me. It's $60, and it will improve the audio on your smartphone. This is why I believe that anyone can do YouTube with their smartphone, is because quality is really good, and your audio can be good as well. And if you put a ring light on here from Archon or any other company, then you automatically have just created basically a movie studio. And then you can use a GorillaPod either from Archon mounts or from Joby to stabilize that. CloverTax says, is there a reasonably priced mic and or recorder combo that might help eliminate the noise from the AC unit in my shop? Have no luck with trying to eliminate it in production. Consider using a lapel mic, because the closer a mic is to you, the less is going to pick up that other noise. I prefer a directional mic like this as a shotgun mic, though, because those clip-on mics are omnidirectional. They pick up sound in every direction. So a directional mic points at you. It isolates the noise. So that's a good answer. And that's $60 if it goes on your smartphone. You'll have to pay more for a directional mic that can do that, like the Sennheiser for $350, and that's probably the right answer, to be honest. And that could help you. Again, a lapel mic might be able to do it because it's just closer to you, and then you can process with either noise capture or adaptive noise reduction. So that's what I would do. Also consider using noise gating in post-production. Now I can't really show you the lighting right now just because the way that I can't move the webcam in a way that will allow for that. And I'm looking to see if I had a photo of these lights that I could show you so you could see them. Maybe I could just snap something with my smartphone, and it's not going to be perfect, but that might help just give you an understanding of these things. But it's almost impossible to show you guys this, and then shooting lights themselves is just problematic. Actually, I can't do that here, so I'll just post my lighting setup in my Instagram, so you can see it in my Instagram feed if you're really super curious about what the lights look like, until I release a video on that, because there's just no way to show you with my webcam, and then the way the lighting will adjust, it'll blow it out anyway. You won't be able to see it. So that's the answer. But you can also just find my lighting kit. It's in the links in the description, and then you can see exactly what that looks like. So that's less complicated, to be honest. So just go to robertoblake.com/YouTube gear. Links are in the description, and then you can see what my lighting gear looks like. All right, so we're 48 minutes into the stream, going strong. John Nugent sent $2. Perfect 1080p stream. How? Thanks for the awesome. Okay, so the way I'm able to do a perfect 1080p stream is, one, I have a crazy high-speed internet connection that was very expensive and is very expensive every single month. I pay the most you can pay to Time Warner for high-speed internet, number one. Number two, I scrapped the crappy modem that Time Warner gave me and got a Netgear modem and then hooked that up to a Netgear wireless router. I do have a router from Asus that sponsor sent, and if we can get it working or replace it, because I think I just got a faulty one, then that'll be even faster. So I recommend getting an AC3100 modem and router, and an AC3100 wireless networking card. Because the other thing is, I bought a very fancy, expensive networking card. In fact, just to give you an idea, this is the stuff that is kind of more or less responsible for my high-speed internet. So yeah, it's not cheap. It's a $100 networking card, a $300 modem, and router, and then a $150 modem. So I invested I've invested hundreds of dollars plus my monthly internet fees into a high-speed connection that is awesome. And then another $120 into the Logitech C922X webcam. So, if you're wondering how I can have a perfect 1080 live stream, I have that. Plus, I invested $500 into Wirecast Studio. So, I spent $1,000 alone into live streaming. I don't recommend everyone do that, but in my case, totally worth it. And it also means that I can teach companies and individuals and businesses exactly how to do that. I've made all my money back on this already, I'm pretty sure. So I'll be fine. But you don't have to do that all right away. I didn't do any of this right away. Those of you who have been watching me for the last 3 years know that this was all an incremental scale. It was buying one piece of equipment and upgrading at a time, incrementally. Incrementally. If you go and you look at my YouTube gear setup, even if you look at and you price out something that's around like $2,000 for an overall setup, you can do that a piece at a time. You can do $200 a month, and at the end of a year, you will have an amazing setup. You'll have an amazing setup if you can just spend like $200 a month. If you figure out $1,000 worth of my kit that you could invest in, then you could do that, and you could do that in 5 months, or you could do $100 a month and you could build up to this. That's how you could do it. But again, you don't have to do any of that. To be honest, you could do really great YouTube videos and even live streams. You can use this, and where did I put that microphone? You can use this, and it's your smartphone. You already own that. $60 for the Rode Video Mic Me. Boom. You've got great video, great audio. You need lighting? Go ahead and get a... Let me see if I have it laying around. I might have it laying around. I don't have it laying around, but you could get a clip-on selfie light. You could go ahead and do that. You want to go widescreen? You can get one of these Olo clip thingies, and you can go widescreen. So, you know, for like $100, you could just turn your phone in the greatest YouTube mobile studio ever, and you could just do that. And that's all you need. You don't need to do what I did and buy thousands of dollars of equipment in terms of cameras. You don't have to go out and buy a 2000 GH5. You don't have to do that. You don't have to buy a $1,000 Sony RX100 Mark V. You can keep it simple. You can do basic things. You can use your phone, and you can use that and make money and build up and up and up, and then you can do this. And then you can do it at the quality that you want. But the most important thing is to get comfortable on camera. The gear doesn't matter if you have a good story to tell. The gear just is supposed to get out of your way. I was using, for the longest time, I was using a $20 wired microphone, and I had really good audio because I found the right Sony microphone for $20, and I was using that for like 2 years, and none of you were really complaining about the audio. It was just as good. You haven't noticed much of a difference. The camera that I was shooting on is now $350 with a lens. And I was using the kit lens for the longest time, and you guys weren't complaining. And it got me to over 100,000 subscribers. I got to 100,000 subscribers on what might be now today $600 or $700 worth of gear. You could get that gear pretty easily. And if I had to do it over, I could have done it on my smartphone, or I could have used this webcam. This webcam is $120. The microphone for this live stream is $60. So if I used OBS instead, I could use OBS for free, a $60 microphone, a $40 mixer, and a $100 Logitech webcam, and I could just use a lamp. And I would be great doing live streams just like this. And you could do YouTube like that. And my friend Sunny Laraduzzi, that's more or less exactly what she did. What phone would I recommend? If you're an Android user, get a Samsung Galaxy phone. I have the S7. If you're an Apple fan, then get whatever the latest Apple phone is. If you want to do content, I recommend getting the 6S for iPhone because it still has a headphone jack. If you want to do high-quality YouTube videos, I still think you need a phone that has a headphone jack so you could put accessories into it, and that could matter to you. I don't believe in what Apple is doing with eliminating that headphone jack because it eliminates people using the PayPal swipe thing, but that's because they want them to use Apple Pay, but some people don't want to do that. It eliminates using microphones like this, but they're like, oh, our quality in the phone is good enough. I don't believe in that. Let people make that choice for themselves. So, that's my answer. So yeah. Oh, that was a long one. Need to get some more of this cranberry juice. We're about 55 minutes into the stream right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's great always seeing you guys live and being able to answer all of your questions, especially when we get to talk about the thing I love, which is gear. Vern says, hey, Roberto, I'm spending 5 hours on my videos every day, but I'm not getting any views. Please tell me what I should do. Number one, you shouldn't be spending 5 hours on your videos. Spend 30 minutes to an hour. Number two, ask people what they want. Understand what people want and do your homework. I doubt you probably haven't read the YouTube beginner guide cover to cover. You probably haven't watched 30 videos in a row from me or Tim Schmoyer or Daryl Eves. Figure out how to make good videos. Stop spending 5 hours on them. Spend an hour tops on them and be patient. And be patient, because the reality is you might not be good at them yet, even though you're working so very hard on it. You know what? I worked really hard on being able to play basketball. It doesn't mean I was any good at it. So I didn't expect anybody to show up in the cheerleading section for me because I kind of sucked at it. So but I'm really good at playing horse. Really good at playing horse. Just not really great at basketball. Can't dunk on anybody. It doesn't matter how many hours I spent on it. I can spend 20 hours on basketball right now. I'm not going to dunk on anybody. So you have to accept patience and say, look, I did 1,000 videos to get this far. There are other people who did 60 videos and have 3 times as many subscribers as I do. Like my friends over at Charisma on Command. They've done like 60, 70 videos. They have over 500,000 subscribers. That's tremendous, and I'm nothing but happy for them, because I remember when they only had 30,000 and I was giving them advice. And, you know, it will be different for everybody. My friend Sarah Dici, I think she has less than 300 videos and she has 170,000 subscribers. Again, that's what it takes sometimes to do. Like, you know, Evan Carmichael has done like 3,000 videos. Gary Vaynerchuk on his channel, 1,500 videos. Jared Poland's done like 2,500 videos. So if you've been doing YouTube for less than 6 months, less than a year, less than 5 years, I never want to hear you whine about your viewer subscriber count. Swoozy did YouTube for 5 years to get to 5,000 subscribers, and he's at like, what, 3 million now? I never want to hear any of you, ever in a stream, ever in a Twitter comment, ever in a YouTube comment, ever again. If you've been doing this for less than 5 years, I never want to hear you complain about your viewer and subscriber count. Because anybody who's been an athlete and played a sport for less than 5 years is not whining about their score. I guarantee you. Anybody who's serious is not whining about their score. So in a real business, you could go 3 to 5 years, work hard for your business, and you still might not be profitable. That's how a brick and mortar business works in the real world. The internet has conditioned many of you to expect overnight success. And then you also are doing the comparison race. It is not for you to do comparisons. It is a solo event. It is a marathon. It is not a competitive sport. So I would recommend that you stop focusing on your view and subscriber count, and maybe you do what I did. You get neurotic as hell, and instead of worrying about your view and subscriber count, you spend the first year trying not to suck on camera, because I sucked on camera. Go back and watch my first YouTube videos. I was horrible. I'm glad no one was watching. I'm glad I had no subscribers. I'm glad I had no views when I did my first 50 videos. You know why? I sucked. I needed to get good at this. I needed to learn, and I didn't let no one watching stop me. I think that if I had had people watching me, it might have been worse for me, because I would have been more self-conscious about it. So I went through the process. I wanted to get good at my editing. I wanted to get better at my online camera presence and my energy. I need to get better at speaking fluently on camera, and I've done that now. And so I didn't worry about nobody watching. I still don't worry about who's watching. It's why I can put out videos that with 200,000 subscribers, I don't care if it only gets 2,000 views. Don't care, because it's 2,000 people that got an answer to a question. That's all I care about. So I know the vanity of the YouTube views, and that because you're making the investment in gear and you're investing in time, I know it seems hard, and I know it seems rough, and I know you might feel you deserve more. Get over it. Do the work and figure it out, and at the end of the day, you've developed a skill. And if you really want to make money at this, you then sell the skill of producing video, shooting video, editing video, and regardless of what your YouTube subscriber count is, that is a skill that you can sell for hundreds of dollars a day. Hundreds of dollars a day. You might never hit 10,000 subscribers in YouTube, but if you produce 200 videos in a year or 2 years and you've learned the skills, you can make thousands of dollars. You could quit your day job with that skill by itself if you take the time to learn to execute and stop worrying about your bloody views and subscribers so much. That's my answer. That's my real answer. And by the way, it's not impossible, and it's not game over, and it's not saturated, because I have a video that's going to come out later this week about Kimber, and Kimber is somebody that I reviewed back in July of last year. I reviewed her YouTube channel when she had 4,000 subscribers. And by the way, it wasn't a shout out, and I did nothing to blow her up in YouTube by reviewing her and featuring her, because only 18% of my audience is female. I had a lot smaller audience back then, and most of my audience is not into beauty and makeup and lifestyle. So I had no real support to throw her way other than good advice. She took that advice, and in 8 months, she went from 4,000 subscribers to 80,000 subscribers. Usually you need a shout out to do that in that period of time, and that's what some people do from a big YouTuber. There are plenty of people who got shout outs from million subscriber YouTube channels that didn't get anything out of it. So stop thinking that's luck. Put that luck stuff in your pocket, as Gary Vee would say. Stop worrying about luck. Stop worrying about views. Stop worrying about subscribers. Get good at shooting, filming, editing, and structuring video. And even if you never make it on YouTube, sell that skill for hundreds and thousands of dollars, because it's a six-figure business by itself to do that, by the way. And you won't have to worry about whether you get views or subscribers on YouTube. You won't have to worry about it. I know somebody that's a smaller-ish YouTuber with less than 100,000 subscribers making like 4 or 5K a month, mostly on affiliate marketing, not even worrying about AdSense. That's a living for some of you. So you think you need big views and subscribers to do it? I know people with 10,000 subscribers that built six-figure businesses. Worry about building an online presence, an online brand, and an online business, and stop worrying about the YouTube vanity count. More than anything, investing in this gear, you know what I got out of it? I realized that even if I bought this gear and it didn't make me money on YouTube, I realized I'd be in a position to recommend camera gear to technical people and to companies and teach them how to produce video in-house, and that I can charge thousands of dollars for those workshops in person, that I could go and I could speak at conferences on this, that I could leverage all of this in the narrative of my brand, and that's a technical skill, and that if nothing else, I could shoot videos for public speakers and make thousands of dollars shooting videos for public speakers at conferences, taking photos, shooting interviews for people for their company. That's practical. Make it practical. That is my answer. That's why I buy this gear. I buy gear to make everything in my life practical and to monetize it. And that is what you need to learn. Stop worrying about the view and subscriber count. Worry about skills first. Worry about being good first. If you were a comedian, you wouldn't worry about having a full house. You would worry about telling jokes that don't suck. That's my answer. And I'm sorry for the rant, although I know some of you love it. So, Beanie Dawes, thank you for the $5 super chat. What's the ideal wattage for an LED lighting kit? And thank you for your honest, real advice. What I like is, what is the wattage on this LED panel setup? Hang on a sec. It's not telling me the wattage, but it's a bicolor light system, and it's an S600B, and it goes up to 5500 Kelvin, which is temperature. And I would rather worry about temperature than wattage, to be honest with you. I'd worry about temperature. So I would stay in a range between, I think, 3200 Kelvin and 5500 Kelvin in terms of a range, and that's why I like the ones with the dimmer switches, because I can control that via temperature and I can get that appropriately. So I like that output, and that's why I recommend the bicolor lights that are 600 S600B. So that's my answer. So yeah. Frostmare TV. Hey, Roberto, after talking to you last week, I'm now gaining 1,000 subs a day and increased my views from 2,000K to 180K a day. Thanks for your input. Yeah, absolutely, Frostmare TV. That's nuts. That's a lot of growth. That's super interesting. Kudos. Congrats to you on that. That is tremendous. Let me just take a quick peek what your channel's about, because that's insane growth. But it makes sense. Horror and paranormal stuff. Yep, that makes sense. But yeah, looks like you're crushing it. It looks like you hit onto some trends. That's amazing. Maybe you'd make a good case study. I might look into that. I think you could maybe do something with the thumbnails and channel artwork, though. But again, that's a whole nother live stream. Maybe one of these days I'll do a live stream where I literally do real-time quickie critiques on channels, but maybe that's predicated on super chat or something like that. So I don't know how I want to do that, but that could be interesting. Liquid Limbo Media says, editing is a chore depending on the video. 5 hours might be a bit extreme, but most of my videos are edited within 2. Do you have a software you'd recommend that might help with editing speed? The thing that I think helps the most, me personally, with editing speed is Adobe Premiere Pro, and I put together a 20-minute video tutorial to teach you the basics of video editing in Premiere Pro. I've also done workflow videos where I show you a workflow for vlogging and also how I edit my YouTube talking head style videos and other things. And I'll probably do more YouTube editing session videos. I might even do live editing, live streams, and show you guys how I edit in real time. My friend Sarah Dietschy's been doing stuff like that. Maybe I do that as well and show you my style of doing it. But I try to do very efficient video editing, and I've done some tutorials around that. So if you look at my Adobe Premiere stuff, that's what I use. Some people like using Final Cut Pro, and that's perfectly fine, but for me, because I know I'm going to start outsourcing to other editors, being able to use an Adobe project file and ship them a hard drive is more practical for me personally, and that's why I use that. But for fast, quick, easy editing efficiency, maybe you use Cyberlink Power Director, maybe you use Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, regardless of what software you use, get efficient with your video editing. Stop obsessing over it, and I would say just make it practical. Especially when you're just starting out and nobody's watching. Because what's going to discourage you is you're putting 5 hours into something that, 20 people will watch. Maybe you pare it down until you get efficient and you get good. I went to doing daily videos so that I could edit more, shoot more, get more comfortable on camera, which is why I can speak fluently for an hour with you guys, non-stop. Why I can speak on stage, it's because I used nobody watching me and used those first 100 videos to get the crap out of the way and get good at the stuff that I sucked at. And that included editing, shooting, settings, lighting. I sucked at all of it the first 50 videos. Go back and watch them. Go back and watch my old videos. They are horrible. They are horrendous. They are the worst videos on YouTube. I'm telling you. Any of you probably today are making better videos than my first 50. I almost guarantee it. I almost guarantee that all of you are making better videos than my first 50 videos. So, when nobody's watching you, understand that it's because you need to grow first and not grow your subscribers or views. Grow your skills. Get good at this because you're asking for people's time. That's the answer. But again, I'm tired of talking about growing YouTube. I want to talk about gear. I want to talk about tech. I want to do that. I'm wearing the blue shirt. I want to talk about that. Valdez Brown, any tips on cameras for mounting on an electric bike? Yes. Great question. Do I have that over on the shelf? I think I have that on the shelf. Hang on, I'm gonna get that camera. Because this is, or did I put it on? Oh, I put it on this other shelf. Alright, so I put it on this shelf. So, GoPro. GoPro is your answer for putting stuff on an electronic bike, or you can get some kind of GoPro knockoff. Those are super cheap, but the GoPro Hero Sessions, not the newest one, but the older ones, are like $100, $150, or you can get them cheap used for like under $100 in Amazon and eBay. So I would recommend that, and they're so cheap that if anything happens to them, you're not crying about it. So that's what I would use in that instance, and just set it up with your phone so you know what it's going to look like, and you do that. And that would be my answer. And this is what also the skateboard YouTubers use. So skateboard YouTubers use this stuff too, and that's why I would recommend it. Yep. So that's my answer, and maybe that helps you out. So we are about an hour and 9 minutes into the stream. We've got some great super chats. Thank you so much for everyone who donated in super chat. I still need feedback on what my free download should be for everybody who donates via super chat. I need to know what you guys want. You want Photoshop pack of templates for YouTube stuff? Do you want some kind of specialized video thing that's exclusive to you guys? Let me know that. If you've donated to super chat, would love your feedback and know what download I should make a free giveaway. Do you guys want a desktop wallpaper of some of my original Photoshop artwork? What should I give away? I need to know. Freddie Cossey just donated $2 in the super chat. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, the Session 4 works really good, and it will do up to 60 frames per second, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, Power Director is good software. I have Cyberlink Power Director. It's what I use for my screen recording. And that's it for my cranberry juice, which means I think I'm down to lemonade now. De La Soul asks a very good question. What are the minimum spec requirements you need for a laptop to do decent editing in 1080 video quality? Tremendous question. I need to release a new video about updated laptop recommendations for video editing for 2017, so I'll try and get that out this month. And the minimum requirements, I would say, 8 gigabytes of RAM, an SD drive as far as an SSD as far as the drive, because you want that for the higher speeds. I don't like the spinning hard drives anymore. I would also say a Core i5 or Core i7 processor, and I prefer Intel over AMD. If it has a dedicated graphics card in it, that's great. If not, the new onboard Intel graphics cards are sufficient, and even Mac is rocking those, so it will be okay. So that would be fantastic. CloverTax says an exclusive 1-hour live stream would be awesome if that's even doable. Unfortunately, for the way that works, I don't think that it is. That's an interesting idea. I just don't think that it is. And I don't think, and the thing with that is, everyone wouldn't be able to make it, so that is problematic there. I want to give a download because everyone can get the download. Not everyone can show up to a stream. So that's what I would say. D Lovely Life says G7 Mark II from Canon versus Sony RX100 Mark V. Thoughts? Great idea. So my friend Amy Schmittauer of Savvy Sexy Social, author of Vlog Like a Boss, I convinced her and her fiance Vincenzo Landino, another speaker and streamer, to go with the Sony RX100 Mark V, and they originally had the Canon G7X Mark II. And the reason is better low light performance and faster overall autofocusing. Those faster, more accurate autofocusing. Those two things were the deciding factor and why they decided to upgrade to the Sony and have never looked back. So that is the reason, and those are my thoughts. David Takashi, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Love it. Ebooks are something I'm already giving away to my email list, so I just want to kind of continue that there. Daniel Durant says, better ring light or softbox in cost to quality ratio? It depends on your overall setup. For females and beauty bloggers, I would recommend a ring light. But for other people, maybe a softbox offers more versatility. So that is kind of where I go. Invisible People, you're interested in YouTube-specific Photoshop templates, and that would be your pick? Awesome. So maybe I just make a download pack, and that's something that's included. So maybe I'll figure that out. Yep. A video on more thumbnails, such as psychology and graphic design of YouTube thumbnails. That is a great idea. I've actually been thinking about that for quite some time. Does the LG G4 get hot? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Don't know. But yeah, guys, it's been a blast. Do we have any more quick questions on YouTube gear? And do you guys have any questions about the Panasonic Lumix GH5 specifically and why I chose to buy it? Is that something you guys are interested in? Are you interested in that versus the Lumix G7? Do you have questions about that? What other gear questions do you guys have? We've talked a little bit about lighting, and I've talked about the importance of having a dedicated lighting setup. We've talked about microphones and why you want to use quality microphones. I actually also have wireless microphones that I use. I use the Rode Link wireless kit as well. Sennheiser might be sending me over a wireless kit, and I think Sennheiser is better overall in the audio. Granted, they are sending me free stuff, but to be honest with you, they cost more than Rode, and the build quality is a lot better. And I will say that even if they weren't sending me stuff, it's just the truth, because this is all metal. This is not. So that's just a real thing. Omar Alvarado asked, do you know of tripods or monopods that can attach to an armrest so I can record from the seat of my chair? I don't that specifically, but what I would recommend is if you want to do it from the seat of your chair is I would recommend a Joby GorillaPod, because you can augment this to do whatever you need it to do. So I would use the Joby, and oh, this just reminded me, this is like what's her name from Overwatch? Symmetra from Overwatch. This is like, yeah, so that's cool. And some of you who aren't gamers don't know that reference, but, you know, I just think that that's cool for, like, some people. It's like the claw thing. So, anyway, yeah, I recommend getting a Joby GorillaPod if you want to attach it to your armrest, because, as you can see, I can just wrap it around this here, and it'd be fine. So, if that's what you want to do, that's what I'd recommend. Drive it like you built it. If you're planning to do some of the restoration videos, one of the cameras I recommend if you're going to be going inside the car and under the hood is I would recommend getting either a GoPro Hero 5 Black Edition or a GoPro Hero Session. I think that that would help you tremendously. Sony makes the $20 lapel mic. I believe it's the Sony EM30. Is the $20 lapel mic that Sony makes. And it's actually what I used for like 2 years, and it's really good. How is the autofocus on the GH5? The autofocus on the GH5 is remarkably fast, remarkably accurate, and it is fantastic. Shotgun microphones. Shotgun microphones, I prefer the Sennheiser MKE440. Everything is linked in my YouTube gear, robertoblake.com/YouTube gear. Everything's linked in the description for you guys. The Rode VideoMic Pro is okay, but again, I prefer the Sennheiser. Better build quality, it's dual stereo, and so that's just overall better. It has a sensitivity setting here, and it also has a filter, a low pass filter for noise, so that you can try and eliminate some of the background noise when you're outside. So that is why. Invisible says, if you've already covered this, sorry, what camera are you using to live stream? I thought I read someplace that you're using a DSLR. And what's the flow from camera to computer? Right now, I'm not using a DSLR. Right now, I'm doing this really well on a Logitech C922X webcam, and that can be mounted on a tripod, so it has a lot of versatility to it. And when I do want to use a DSLR, I use the Blackmagic Shuttle Design Intensity. And you can find all that stuff if you go over to my YouTube gear, robertoblake.com/YouTube gear. Everything is linked over there. And also, it'll take you to my kit.com, kit.com/robertoblake, where you can find other setups where I've broken down all the stuff for live streaming, all the stuff for a $2,500 setup, all the stuff for a $150 setup. It's all there. So that's where you can find that out. Also, Invisible People, I love what you guys are doing, but I think you guys should reach out to me specifically for some consulting, because I think I could definitely help you guys. I know you've got a lot of value from the content I've been doing. I know that you guys were at my speaking engagement, and I think that if we work together, if you guys hire me, I can help you a lot directly in getting the message out there and changing the face of homelessness. So let's figure that out. How is the GH5 different than the GH4? So a couple of key differences. One, the GH5's ability to shoot 4K video at 60 frames per second, the 10-bit data rate. Also, one of the other key features that I love about this, believe it or not, is that the charging port for this, USB-wise, is USB Type-C. So that's convenient. The other thing that's different about this versus the GH4, which I shot on at the YouTube studio, by the way, is the dual SD card slot. Dual SD card slot. So that is killer for redundancy. I like that. And those are some of the major differences. Also, this shoots 20 megapixels for photography, and I think that that's different as well. And this is also weather sealed. So, which I can't remember whether the GH4 is or not, but those are the key differences that I noticed. Also, the overall ergonomics and feel of this are better than the GH4, so those are the things, but it's twice the price. If you have $1,000, I would still consider getting the GH4 or the G85, and that would be what I would spend $1,000 on, or I would get the G7, which is lighter and is about $600 now, and then buy $400 worth of lenses and accessories. So, those are the options. Alexander Kerr says, in action sports, is it easy to pull photos out of 4K videos? Sometimes cropping photos out of the HD loses resolution. With the 4K, yes. With the 4K, you can definitely do that. And with the certain cameras, you can actually shoot stills while you're filming in 4K. So that's what I would say about that. Omar Hamata asks, how do you like TubeBuddy? Love TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy.com/awesome. Best YouTube tool out there. TubeBuddy.com/awesome. That is my link, and it is my secret weapon in YouTube and how I rank on the first page. So I would use that. De La Soul says, did you use the Sony right out of the box or had to change the settings? I changed the settings so that it does facial priority. I also still fiddle with the settings just depending on what I'm doing. I also changed it so I could shoot everything in S-Log. So those were the changes I made. I also changed the trash can button was the only manual button change I made, so that button focuses immediately on my eye detection. So that is what I set it for. And those were the changes that I made to the Sony RX100 out of the box. Yep, so that is what I did. Oh, someone says that they're in the market for a drone, and they're torn between the DJI Mavic Pro and the Phantom 4. What do I recommend? The Phantom 4 has better overall image quality, but the Mavic Pro has better portability. The Mavic Pro fits in this bag. This bag that is not much bigger than my head. That's what fits the Mavic Pro, 2 batteries, and the remote control. So for portability, this is a carry-on going to the airport. If you get the Phantom 4, you're going to have to check your luggage because there ain't no way that that's getting on the plane. And I don't know if you want to trust airport people with throwing that on the thing. So this is the Mavic Pro, and I've got landing gear on this, and it fits in this bag. So I chose the Mavic Pro because I travel a lot, I like the portability and the ease of use, and that mattered to me more than the overall image quality, and it's the easiest drone to use, period, end of story. And so I always recommend the DJI Mavic Pro. Because I like to carry around and travel with so much gear, I need it to be small. So that's my answer. That is my answer. Do I primarily shoot my videos on YouTube? Another fishing show asked. Not at the moment, but next year I plan to probably go almost exclusively to 4K with very few exceptions, and live streaming being part of those exceptions. So if in 2018 all my stuff ends up being in 4K, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. That could be a thing. That could be a thing that happens, and it might be really fascinating if it does. So, yep, that's the thing. So guys, we've been at this for about an hour and 23 minutes. I think I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to dip out for dinner, and I'm going to finish editing the video today. That's the unboxing and first impressions of the GH5. So that's something that I want to put out for you guys. I hope you're looking forward to that. Next week will probably be the footage from this, from testing, maybe a review, or at least a first-hand review, not a full review, because I think I need 2 more weeks with that to do a full, complete hands-on review. So we'll see, and I might make a user guide for this. I might make a user's beginner guide for this kit. for this camera. I think I might make one for the Sony RX100 Mark V now that I'm used to it, and I certainly think I'll make one for the G7 because now that I have the Blackmagic Intentionally Shuttle, I can actually capture the raw screenshots from in camera of the settings and teach you how to set up these cameras. So I might actually teach you guys the settings for these cameras by actually recording that using the Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle directly from the camera data, and so that could be cool. So yeah, that's what I might do. So let me know if you're interested in that. Roberto Blake is my real name. What's my next travel location? My next travel location is Shutterfest, a photography conference in St. Louis, Missouri, put on by Shutter Magazine, and Sal Sincata, a tremendous creative entrepreneur who went from quitting a job at Microsoft 4 or 5 years ago to launching multiple businesses as a serial entrepreneur and a photographer, over $4 million in revenue, 36 employees. Started Shutter Magazine as a digital magazine company and then made it a print magazine. So Sal is a mentor of mine and from afar, and I've gotten to meet him. I spoke at Shutterfest last year. I saw him at his session at Adobe Max on building $1 million brand. He's a huge inspiration to me, and it's going to be great to see him and all the other speakers at Shutterfest again. So I'll be in St. Louis, Missouri later this month from the 19th to the 26th speaking at Shutterfest. I'm also going to talk to like all the camera brands and people that are there, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to see the Panasonic guys again, maybe talk to them about some things and get some more tips on some of these cameras and the lenses and all those things. So that's my next location. Then I'm going to a private YouTuber event in May, and I'm going to see some really interesting people there. VidCon in June, and I'm also going to be at, in May in Atlanta where I'm moving, I'm going to be at Creative Pro Week and MomoCon. So that is the travel itinerary for June. I have no idea what I'm doing in July. I might, as a photographer and a fan, go to RTX in Texas because I love the guys over at Rooster Teeth and I love the series Ruby. I miss Monty Ohm. He was a hero of mine as an animator and a creative, and I admired his work and what he did. I love that they kept his legacy alive, so I might go to RTX this year. It also means I can visit my friend Samantha, so I might go check out Texas, go check out RTX in July, and that could be cool. I'll be in New York whenever Next Gen Summit is. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. Just a lot of stuff, a lot of travel, and that's what I'm about these days, is all the travel. DMAC asks, what Sigma lens do you use? I don't use any Sigma lenses right now, but I plan to for my Sony stuff, and I probably will get a speed booster for the Panasonic GH5 and G7. I'll get a speed booster, and I'll use Sigma lenses for those. And it'll probably be that I'll use the 24-70 and 7200 Sigma lenses that they might make for Sony, or I might get the art lenses. I might get the Sigma art lenses that they make for Sony, and if they have Sigma art lenses for Panasonic, then I might use those. So that would definitely be my answer on Sigma lenses. Great question. Tremendous question there. D Lovely Life. The Canon GX Mark II, G7X Mark II is still a good camera, but the Sony is superior, and I would argue that the Panasonic Lumix LX10 is also superior. So maybe you look at that and maybe you can return it and then trade it out. So that would be my answer. Caleb McCool asks, do I have a Snapchat? Yes, but I rarely use it. I'm figuring out a strategy for what I'd rather do with Snapchat because I only use it to basically direct video message people, and now Facebook Messenger is available for that, but I do that for people at conferences that aren't Facebook and aren't in there and aren't homies on Facebook. So Snapchat's a good way to reach influencers with direct video messaging, and I use it that way. I don't make content on Snapchat. I do that with Instagram stories instead because I'm Team Zucks, that's why. So that's my answer. 18 to 35 millimeter f1.8 with GH5 equals perfection. Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. That is definitely what's up. Yeah, Zeiss lenses, I'm looking at those for Sony. I've used the Zeiss lenses because I've tested the Sony A7R2 and the Sony A6000 back in the day. So that's what I would look at. Lovely Kid in Japan says, what about VidMe? VidMe is interesting, but I'm not super impressed with it just yet. We'll see what happens. To be honest, I don't think anybody can truly compete with or replace YouTube because they don't have a Google backing them. Google has the greatest engineering team in the world, has the largest advertising platform in the world. So no matter what problems YouTube has, here's the thing. No one can compete with them except maybe Facebook, because Facebook's the only one as a company that has the cash to burn at a loss. That's business acumen 101 for you guys. Anyone can have all the great technology in the world, but they'll lose if they don't have the cash. That's where Twitter is running into problems. Even though they've got some cash, they're burning cash and losing. That's why they had to shut down Vine. That's why they've killed off other things. So if you guys think that YouTube's going away, it ain't going anywhere. If you think someone's going to compete with YouTube, that's not going anywhere. Facebook is a culture of timeline. YouTube is a culture of search. Timeline is interruption. Search is intent. Facebook still hasn't gotten search right and hasn't gotten us used to doing search in Facebook. It's all about the timeline, and they know it. They can't change the culture. It's too late. It's too far gone. So there's not a video platform in existence, period. There's not a company in existence, period, that has the cash to burn, the expertise in this, and the brand authority to directly compete with YouTube. Facebook can monetize videos tomorrow. They have that in beta, by the way. They can monetize videos tomorrow, and people will not go and search out videos in Facebook versus YouTube, period. End of story, end game. They can't win there. So that's it. Malazi says, are you coming to ClamorCon? Yup, coming to ClamorCon. So yeah, real biz dev, real talk. Sergio, reference my video where I talked about YouTube taxes. It's on the channel. It's a better answer than I can give here. And yes, Wacom is the top player when it comes to tablets right now. However, I am using the Artisol D13 instead of a Wacom Cintiq 13-inch, and it's actually really good. Now, Wacom changed the price the minute that someone started competing with them on price. So, you know, there are alternatives out there. Artisol's a good company, but Wacom is still top tier. So, I do not have a video on my workflow for CyberLink Power Director just yet. I have a basic video about CyberLink Power Director, but I'm trying to figure out how I want to do tutorials going forward when I'm covering this stuff that allow me to talk directly to camera to you guys a little bit more easily, and then also show you the software, but also break up concepts. That's why I haven't done as many tutorials lately. But, that is something I am looking at. It's something I'm excited about. It's something that I want to do. I really want to do better tutorials for you guys on workflow, and I think that would be amazing. And I think CyberLink Power Director is great software. I've enjoyed working with them. They're not a current sponsor of the channel, but they've sent me the software, and I want to train on that because I think it's an affordable thing for most of you. I've done private training with companies on CyberLink because they wanted something cheap and easy for their people to use at home. So I think it's great. Someone's asking me Final Cut versus Premiere. I'm a Premiere Pro guy, but I use After Effects and I use Photoshop, and that's a lot of the reason. I use Adobe Audition. The suite is the power of Premiere Pro. As a standalone product, Final Cut is fine. If you only got $300 and you want the greatest standalone editor that you can buy outright, Final Cut's amazing. But I prefer Premiere Pro. Thoughts on Vimeo? Vimeo Pro for Business is good for business people who need to privatize their videos so that they can use them for marketing purposes. So that is that's pretty much my coverage on my YouTube gear, including my Sony RX100 Mark V, the new Panasonic Lumix GH5, love this monster, and my primary shooter for now until I master the GH5 is my G7, my Panasonic G7. So that is what I like to use occasionally, and maybe I'll actually use this GoPro a little bit more in the future since I have it. where did I put it? My GoPro Hero Session. So those are the things I primarily use, you guys, when I live stream. I use the Logitech stuff. Hashtag not sponsored, not this time anyway. But Logitech sent me keyboards and other stuff before. But you know, I use this. This is also the one I use to travel with. This is $60. Sonny Lenarduzzi started a YouTube channel with this. I have 6 of these hats. Some are duplicates and in other colors. I used to have more, but some of them got worn out. So that's the answer on the hats. Once you have a brand, you stick with it. But $60, this starts your YouTube channel right here as a camera. So best camera to start YouTube under $100 is this. Maybe that's a video that I put out. So that's an answer. You can use your smartphone, and for perfect audio, you get the Rode VideoMic Me. All of the gear that I've talked about is linked in the description below. robertoblake.com/YouTube gear, and you can see all the gear I'm using. I'm not hiding any of it from you guys. And some of it is cheaper than you could possibly imagine, and some of it's really expensive. So you have options. You have options. And by the way, if you guys want, hit me up in Twitter and ask me if there's budget gear you want me to review. Hit me up in Twitter. If there's gear that's under $200 that you would love for me to review to see what my recommendation is, hit me up. Let me know what gear under 200. Let me know what gear under 100. Let me know what gear under 50 you want to see here. Because I can show you a lighting kit that's under $50. I have one that I use for portable setup. How big is my backpack when I travel? I'll show you. It's my favorite backpack, actually, right now anyway. This backpack will carry my entire YouTube setup. My entire studio can fit in this backpack. This is the Case Logic. Maybe I'll link to this because I don't think I've linked this up. But this is my backpack. This is one of, I have like maybe 6 different backpacks, but this is the best one and the one I use the most right now. And, well, I have 6 bags. It's like I have shoulder bags. I have 3 backpacks. I have 4 shoulder bags? Something like that. Anyway, this carries everything. This will fit my laptop. This will fit a camera that has a lens on it. It'll fit another body. I can put a bunch of lenses in it. I have my wireless kit in here right now as far as the Rode link. So I have that. And so those are all of the things. So this carries the laptop, 2 cameras, plus the Sony RX100, all of my cords, and a tripod on the side. So that bag carries everything. I can fit my entire YouTube studio in that bag and have these 2 cameras to shoot with on and I can what I have to do with that is because I have the tripod in there, I have to carry the other tripod if I want to set it up, or I can set up one tripod and then one handhold camera and then use the portable tripod, the mini tripod for the Sony RX100. So that's how I could do 3 camera angles, or I can use the GoPro as another camera angle. So that's how I can do all of this stuff, and it's all in one bag. And it's convenient to carry, and that's how I'm doing it. So wow, an hour and 37 minutes in, you guys. A budget camera that I recommend. A budget camera that I recommend would be the Nikon D5300, the Nikon D3300, the 5300 if you want a flip out screen though. So those are something I can recommend. If you can live with the audio not being fantastic, you can get the Panasonic Lumix ZS45 for $200. So for getting started with vlogging until you can afford a Sony, that's definitely a good answer. So those are some budget cameras that you could look at. If you got $500, buy the Panasonic Lumix G7. But guys, thank you so much for all of your questions. You guys have been wonderful. You know, thank you for all of your tremendous gear questions. I don't think I'm going to eat out today. I think I'm going to fix a salad, to be honest. I think I need to. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to fix a salad. I think I have some grilled chicken left over that I can mix in there. So I'll figure that out. But It's been great hanging with you guys, talking gear. It's been great geeking out with you over the new GH5 from Panasonic. I love this thing. Unboxing video dropping later tonight, probably super late tonight, but later tonight. So thank you so much. It's 8:09 right now Eastern Standard Time, which means that my friend Sarah Dici, rhymes with Peachy, Sarah Dici probably has dropped her new video, probably. So if that's true, go check that out right now on her channel. If not, I'm sure she's got other awesome stuff for you guys to check out. So big props to Sarah. I know she usually uploads at 8 p.m. Am I going to NAB? I need to talk to my homies at Adobe and see if I can go to NAB, because I don't know. Maybe I'm going to NAB. I don't know. Maybe I should. So yeah, that is pretty cool. I love that you guys had all these great questions. Any comments on the D7100? The D7100 would be great if it had a flip out screen. That's my answer to that one. The D7100 also had some autofocus issues, and thus the D7200 is better. Sarah Dici, if you look her up in YouTube, you'll find her, but her name is spelled like this. So, boom, that's in the comment section for you guys. So, go check her out. Any tips on filming? Reference my 10 tips for filming YouTube videos video. That came out, I think, last week or the week before. It's up on the YouTube channel. That's your answer. How do you get a green screen photo for free? You Google search. MCBTVX, have you ever played with the YouTube API? Nope. I'm going to pay other people to do that. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks, you guys. I don't want this to go that much longer. I got to eat. You guys got places to be, things to do, hopefully making awesome things and sharing them with the world. So, thank you so much. Remember to go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.